Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome in if you're new. Today we're doing another voiceover video because Artfight starts in a couple days and I did a lot of last minute prep. It turns out I was not as ready for Artfight this year as I thought I was, and actually needed to make a couple different new refs for a couple different characters. So that was fun, you know, cramming I think 4 refs in like 2 days. Usually ref sheets are very difficult for me to do, so cramming that many is amazing. But let's talk about this first character. So this is Virgo Shine, and she is one of my My Little Pony OCs, and honestly she is one of my favorite of my My Little Pony OCs. She was one of the characters that didn't necessarily need a new ref, but I felt like she deserved a new ref, and there was a couple design aspects that I wanted to change with this new ref. Like, I started drawing her with a different hairstyle that I wanted to put in this new ref, and then I also wanted to portray the more confident character that I have her as now compared to the shy nerd she was when I originally designed her. Like, when I originally designed her, she was quiet and she didn't have many friends, and she would just go out and look at the stars. And she still goes out and looks at the stars, but she has a lot more time making friends. She's very social, she's confident, she's a little spacey, but that's kind of expected when your talent is astronomy and you look at the stars most of the time. Real quick, I just wanted to briefly touch on the way that I do a lot of my ref sheets when I do them completely digitally compared to like how I draw in general. Because when I'm doing ref sheets or like character designs, I like to block out the character before I start actually like putting their design features on top. Like you saw at the beginning, I had that yellow color that I was using to kind of like put her shape down, but not actually draw her out yet. And then I started putting the details like her hairstyle, her scarf, her hooves and whatnot like on top of that. That's just something I'd like to point out because I find it to be a very good skill to use when designing characters, because you already know what their silhouette is going to be like, and their silhouette helps kind of shape the character and shows your audience who the character is even before you actually like show them the rest of the character. Like, she's sleek, but she has a bit more of a strong like legs and whatnot. It's just like a little design aspect I wanted to add for her because she actually has a bit of earth pony in her as well. A little fun fact. Ooh, let's talk about her cutie mark. I did not have to redesign it, but I did, and it took me a bit to get there because there was some aspects of it that didn't quite look right to me yet. Like, it took me a bit to get the swirl to look right and had to have it pop off her flank like I wanted it to, which is why I added that like white outline around it, was because I thought it would make it pop out a bit more. And honestly, I'm really glad I did add it because it does look really nice on her. And also, I would like to point out that the swirl is a backward S, and I didn't realize that when I drew it, but the swirl is a backward S, like the name Virgo Shine. So that was a little fun thing that I accidentally added. The rest of her ref was pretty simple. I added like her magic usage, color, her name. I did the color on the lines that I absolutely love to do. I think I added a couple little notes, like talking about how much opacity I use for the magic, and then I think I mentioned that it was also her eye color. Just like some basic stuff for the ref. Overall, like, she is such a interesting character, and she's so fun to draw, honestly. Her ref is I think this one is my second favorite out of all of the refs I did, but the other one has a little bit of a character bias, so take with that what you will. Alright, on to the next part of my art fight prep. This time, we aren't doing a full ref sheet. Yay, thank goodness. This time I was just redesigning this one character's cutie mark a little bit. I wasn't completely happy with how I had designed their cutie mark originally. I thought that it looked a little weird, I guess. I didn't like how thin the pencil looked in it originally, and I didn't like that the outlines were black, so I decided to change it, make it a bit more cartoony, I guess. I made the pencil a lot bigger, and then I gave the lines color, because it looks so much better when the lines have color, and it looks very, very nice on actual character designs. So this one was the easiest part. Thank goodness. Alright, now we're on to the first full redesign of my art fight prep. This is my character Raya, who is now my character Ruth after the redesign. Basically, I was watching a video. It was about weird core OCs and how to make your weird core OC a bit more memorable and make them stand out a bit. And it reminded me of the fact that I have a weird core OC that I don't really use very much. And I decided to give her an entire backstory and redesign her. Basically, her backstory is she lived in New York City in the 50s, and she was a radio host. And people didn't really like that, especially since she was also known to be a bit of a cross-dresser. She liked wearing masculine clothing. So one day, a couple people broke into the studio and they shot her, and when she fell backwards, she hit her head on a TV. And then she woke up somewhere, and she was in New York City, but it was abandoned and overgrown, and there was no life to be seen. And she had a TV for her head, and she had wings, and she had a hole in her chest that a flower was growing out of, and it was always leaking this weird purple goo, and she couldn't remember much. She has this ring around her neck that she can't remember whose it is or why it's important to her. She just knows that it's important to her. And she wanders around the city for years. She never gets hungry, she never sleeps, she just wanders, hoping to find somebody. And sometimes she does, most of the time she doesn't. I really wanted to explore themes of loneliness and isolation with this character, and I think once I start using her more and start maybe even writing using her, I'll be able to do that. And then I'm really excited for Art Fight because I put some of her backstory and whatnot on there, so I'm hoping people use that as an excuse to draw her in some of these situations, where she's wandering around the city or she's interacting with other people's OCs, and maybe she's a little bit bonkers from all the years of not seeing many people. But she's kind of open to a little bit of interpretation in that way. But when I went to actually redesign her, I wanted some aspects to be clear. I wanted her to have a 50s aesthetic, and I wanted her, because her TV head was already a 50s TV, and I wanted her to have wings, because I am a sucker for wings, even if they don't work. Her wings, as you can see on the right wing, it's bandaged up, and there's the goop leaking through. It's pretty broken, and she can't use it to fly. But she has wings because wings are cool, and I quite enjoy them. And honestly, I would be totally open to people drawing art of her with as many or as little wings as they want, because wings are cool. I love them. I think the only rule is she can't fly though, because one of the wings is broken, and also they're kind of small. So logically speaking, as a human with that small of a wingspan, she wouldn't be able to fly. But it'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, I think the most interesting part about this was trying to figure out how to sort her colors, because she has a lot of them. and you can see me labeling them right now. The skin, the TV screen, they all have like different colors and whatnot that they're based on. So trying to figure out how to organize that was a little fun, and that's when I realized that, oh my goodness, I used so many colors and I really didn't mean to. And also, surprise, she's a lesbian. It's a little bit of into her lore and whatnot. That ring, I know whose the ring is, but she doesn't remember. And it goes a little bit into her being a lesbian and whatnot. And that's all I'll say, because I'm probably going to write a story or whatnot about her at some point. But we'll see. Either way, I'm really happy with her redesign, and I'm really happy with her as a character and how she's changed as a character. Okay, so this one is another one I did a full redesign for his Artfight ref because he needed it. He was originally supposed to be a dragon pony hybrid, but once you see the ref sheet, he literally just looked like a bat pony without the like actual bat pony features. He doesn't look like a dragon, he looks like a pony with bat wings. So I decided with his redesign to make him actually look like a dragon and have draconic features. So I made him bigger, and I gave him horns, and I made his wings bigger, and I made his tail more draconic-like, and I gave him spikes. And of course he still has the pony features, like most of his face is pony-ish, even though he has like the dragon horn thing, which I think I drew in later. But he still has like hooves, and he has the pony ears and whatnot, and the pony body type. So, yay. Actually designing dragon characters that look like dragons. It's something apparently that I have a habit of doing, because even my persona, you can see in the corner of the screen, their original design didn't have horns or tail fins or anything like that. They just looked like a cat with dragon wings. Yeah, so oops. Either way, remedying my past design choices with this lovely little guy. Honestly, I think the thing I struggled with the most is his colors, because I did change up his colors from his ref originally to give him more like depth. Like originally he only had like the black, the white, and the teal, and I decided to give him a gray as a main color instead, because I thought it would look interesting. And you'll see right now how I'm like laying out his patterns and whatnot and drawing them out. I think the thing that stumped me the most was what color should the wings be, because they have like the black markings and whatnot, but do I want the wings to be gray or do I want the wings to be white? I think eventually I ended up making the wings white, and I'm not sure how happy I am with that decision, but it's a decision I made, so I will stand by it for now. If I change it later, I change it later. Either way, his design now is a lot better, just in terms of actual design, and then in terms of being able to make him look more dragon-like. Like, I really enjoy when characters actually look hybrid to what they are. Like, a lot of times people will pick two hybrids and it'll be very heavily one, but not very much of the other, and I'm very much guilty of it too. But I want to try to move away from that and start to actually make hybrids that look like hybrids. And also with this character, I couldn't help but put some little tusks in, because I am a sucker for tusks as well. Oh, yes, let's talk about his cutie mark redesign. So, originally, his cutie mark was my logo, like that pineapple with the dragon wings, because my username was that pineapple dragon. Well, in this redesign, because of like the personality and stuff I gave him for Artfight and whatnot, I decided to change his cutie mark to be a scroll with the dragon features and also the pineapple thing, to still have like the pineapple aspect, but I made it a scroll instead because he does like writing and poetry and art as well, but like his as a character is more into like writing and poetry, which is kind of funny because he's a dragon and dragons breathe fire. He tries not to, but obviously accidents happen. and I'm sure he's probably lost a lot of books and scrolls and whatnot because of his accidental fire breath. And here is when we're finally like cropping it into being the ref, and I struggled so much with the layout for this thing. My goodness. No matter what I did, there was so much dead space, like especially near the bottom, and I think it's because of the way that I drew the tail and the hooves, because there's just that awkward space between like the bottom of the front hooves and the tail that there was nothing I could really fit in there. So I'm just gonna have to live with the fact that there's a lot of dead open space. And I'm also gonna have to live with the fact that you guys will now know that I forgot to put his jewelry in when I was drawing him originally, so I had to go back and do that later. And I also forgot to sign it till then. And here's the final character on our Artfight ref roster. This is Ranch, and he is one of my FNAF OCs. He's actually also one of my comfort characters, so it made me very happy to actually give him a new ref this time around, because he's been needing one for a while. There was like small design choices that I made when I drew him that were not on his ref, so I wanted to change it so that his ref sheet better reflected how I like to draw him as a character. And I also just wanted a chance to draw him again because he's absolutely adorable and he's so suave in this picture. Like, look at this man. I love him so much. If I had to pick one character to draw every single day for like a month, it would be him, because he has such an interesting design, and I just love him so much, as you can tell because I'm absolutely gushing about him. But let's talk about what I did when his redesign and whatnot, and some things I'd like to point out. I would like to point out that when I was drawing him, I made his legs too short. And I don't know if we've gotten to that point yet. No, we haven't. But there was something that looked kind of off about him, and I wasn't sure what it is, but I could tell it was in the lower half. And then I realized he was too short. This is when I'm starting to like realize it, or when I'm trying to edit the line art. Yep. I was trying to fix his legs because he just looked too short. And then eventually I just ended up taking the lasso tool and moving them and then redrawing the line art. And that made him look so much better. Like, my man's is not a short boy. He is tall, and he needs to be drawn as such. And my bad for not doing that initially. Another thing I wanted to change about his design was his clothing, because in his original design he was wearing like a t-shirt and he didn't have the suspenders and he didn't have the full-length pants. So, but I've been drawing him in capris, but I wanted to give him full-length pants because I feel like it would fit this more like suave attitude that he has in his more like modern character arc. And I wanted to experiment a little bit with the different purples and whatnot. Eventually I did go back towards the purple he originally had for the darker purple, but I did still like change it up a little bit, make it more desaturated, because I really like how the desaturated purple looks on him. It looks nice. I love desaturated colors in general though, so that's not surprising. And also another thing that I changed about this design is his paws. Because usually when I would draw like animatronic OCs, I would give them like more mechanical looking paws, but I wanted to give him actual like paws because I think it would be cuter, and like I feel like that's how he would be designed if he was an actual animatronic, is just having like paw looking things. And I wanted to give him paw pads because paw pads are adorable. But I gave him them in a way that was more animatronic-like and less, like, furry-like, if that makes any sense. And I gave him a more fingerless gloves kind of look. And I changed it from the original design because in the original design he had the light purple on his fingers too. But I wanted to give him the white on his fingers to make it actually look like fingerless gloves. And let me say, I had a lot less of a hard time trying to figure out how to make this ref look as full as it could be. Like, giving him that eye for when he's in like attack mode, that was the only thing that I was kind of like iffy on, but I think that one turned out really good. And the color palette is in a good spot, and I really like how that turned out. And this ref sheet in general just turned out so good, and I'm so proud of myself for being able to draw him this way. Like, his pose and his expression just are so interesting and fun, and I'm so glad I was able to capture them in this way. Something I wouldn't have been able to do years prior. Like, if I tried to make his ref last year, which I honestly probably could have because he has needed a new ref for a while, I wouldn't have been able to capture this sort of suave side of him, and I'm so glad I was able to with this ref sheet. So that's how my Artfight prep went this year. Let me know if you guys are doing Artfight too, and what team you guys are on. I am a proud member of Team Stardust, so if you're on Team Seafoam, you better watch out because I'm going to be doing attacks as soon as I can. Alright, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your guys' day.